How to build a strong romantic relationship with communication. Hi guys, my name is Loveridge and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach, and today I'm talking about how to build a strong romantic relationship with communication. Now, effective communication may take some practice to begin with, but once you nail it, it is the most easiest thing you can do to keep and build a strong relationship over the long term. Because most of the problems that couples have is a miscommunication problem. So the first thing I want to get into is the art of listening, because if you want to be understood, first seek to understand. So that means listening and actually listening. So when your partner is talking to you, it's important that you are remembering what your partner is saying. And the way that you do this is by making sure that you turn off the television, that you put down your phone, and when they are telling you something, you are actually listening and putting your full attention on your partner. And the way that your partner can tell if you are actually listening is if you repeat back some of what he or she has said. So if your partner comes up to you and they tell you about an argument that they had with their boss, repeat back some of what they've said. So basically they might say, well, so-and-so said this and it made me feel like this. And then you can go, oh, so they said this and it made you feel that way. Is that right? Is that what you are trying to say? Is that what you mean? And then they'll either go yes, or they'll say no, actually what it really means is this. And then you can go, oh, so it really means this. But so basically what you're doing is you're simply just repeating what they have said, because everybody wants to feel understood. And that is so important. And if your partner feels like they are understood by you, that you get them, that you understand, that will make them feel safe, it'll make them feel comfortable, and they'll never want to leave you, basically. So the important part of listening is presence, giving your full attention to your partner. Now, this may be a lot more difficult for those people out there that are masculine, because masculine people tend to want a resolution and a conclusion when it comes to a conversation. Whereas someone that is feminine sometimes just likes to talk for the sake of talking. So as you can see, there might be some conflict there. But unfortunately, the masculine does have to entertain and humor the feminine. You have to let her or him, the more feminine one, let them talk, because that is how they express themselves. Typically, if someone is predominantly feminine, they prefer to talk about their emotions, their experiences. And they like to talk to the person that they love and care about most, which is their masculine counterpart. Now, when the feminine comes to you, if you are masculine, they are not wanting your opinion, and they are not wanting you to fix the situation. Now, they may do, but it's best to assume that they don't want you to fix it. Assume that he or she just wants to talk about it. Just assume that they just want to get it off their chest. And the way that you do that is by obviously giving your full presence, listening to what they have to say, and asking questions about what it is that they're talking about. So if they've had an argument with someone and they come to you like, oh, I've had an argument with so-and-so today, don't just be like, oh, that's bad. Oh, that's a shame. Don't just say that, or try and fix it and say something like, oh, we should just not talk to them anymore. They're a nuisance anyway. You shouldn't be friends with them, or something. That's fixing the situation, or just not allowing them to talk about it. When your partner comes up to you and goes, oh, I fell out with so-and-so today, the best thing that you can say after they've said that is, oh, really? What happened? So let them talk about it. Ask questions that get them to tell you about the story. So you ask things like, what happened? What next? How come that happened? Why is that? How come? Ask those kinds of questions. And basically, it shows to your partner that you actually care about their problems, that you care about them and you care about their life. And by listening attentively and having presence and repeating back what they say, they will also see that you understand them. Now, someone who is masculine may not like to communicate in this way. So let's say you have a problem if you're masculine. So let's say you have an argument with your boss. You might not want to talk about it. You might want to go into, kind of like a meditative state, or play a video game, or go into the man cave, or just have some time on your own to kind of think about it yourself, kind of stew over it. You might not want to talk about it. And basically what the feminine person needs to understand, if you're a feminine person, is that sometimes your masculine counterpart, so your husband or your masculine wife, they might not want to talk about it. They might just want to be alone for a little while and think about it. They probably don't want to talk about it. Most of the time, they don't want to talk about it. Sometimes they might want to talk about it, but most of the time, they might just want to sit and think about it themselves and resolve it in their own head. They might not want to talk about it like a story, like someone who is feminine might do. And you must let them. You must let your masculine partner think it over. Then if they seem like they're in a bad mood, you can ask them, oh, do you want to talk about it? But if they say no, don't press them, just let them figure it out for themselves. But for those masculine people out there, when your feminine wife or boyfriend comes to you and they clearly want to talk about something, you need to give them your full presence and attention and discuss what it is that is bothering them. Get them to open up about it. Get them to tell it to you like a story, because that will make them feel better. So what if you have something that you really want to say to your partner, and it's not an easy thing to talk about? So it could be a question of your relationship. You're not happy with their behavior. They're doing something that is disrespecting you, or something that you think is harmful to them. So perhaps they're disrespecting themselves. Perhaps you're having a problem with another family member in your family. Perhaps you're talking about your children, or where to send them to school, or perhaps you're talking about your child's education. If you've got something important to talk about it, you must talk about it openly and honestly. Do not brush things under the carpet. Don't just keep things hidden or bottled up, even if it's hard and difficult, because it's so easy. It's so easy when you've had an argument with your partner to just turn around in bed and go to sleep, or to ignore the situation, to leave it for another day. But you mustn't do that, because basically these problems just get bigger and bigger over time. The best time to tackle a monster is when it's small. So when there's something that needs to be addressed and it's important, don't brush it under the carpet. You must have a discussion about it, and it may lead to an argument. It may lead to a disagreement, but you must talk about it if it's important. Don't just roll over and go to sleep, or turn the TV on, or ignore the situation and run away from it, because it's not going to go away. Basically what's going to happen is it's just going to get bigger, and the monster is just going to become more and more dangerous to the situation. It's just going to become more and more bigger. And so obviously you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. You don't want to be tackling a bigger problem down the road, so it's better to tackle it while it's small. So if you have an important discussion that you need to get right, you need to do it as soon as you possibly can, to avoid it getting bigger and to avoid any bigger resentments or a bigger blowout down the road. You want to avoid that at all costs, which is why if it's a tough talk that you're going to have to go through, you need to do it and get it over with as soon as you possibly can and get it resolved. So there's a couple that are really good at communication, like relationship communication. And I highly recommend that you get their book, Getting the Love You Want, and that is by Harville Hendrix. If you are not sure about getting the book, there is actually a talk at Google that they did. If you just type in YouTube, I'll link it anyway, but just type in YouTube, Harville Hendrix and Helen Hunt, Google Talks, and you'll be able to see that. And they actually show you how to have effective communication with your partner. So I highly recommend that you go and watch that, and I definitely recommend that you get their book. Anyway, if you'd like help with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com/shop to get coaching with me, or alternatively, you can use the email address provided in this video's description box. Please like, please subscribe, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys.